Guys at work, they kind of come to me and they said, "Oh man, you're not going to come back with a kidney." And oh, my cousin goes and says, "I'm going to have to sign off for your coffin." We just don't know what's going on in Ukraine because it's still, kind of that scary, scary country. And it's not really a scary country.
All right, so Dave, you look awful dapper today.
Oh yeah, thank you. Well, I'm only 10 days back from beautiful Ukraine, so what's not to be happy about?
Okay. Well, first of all, let's talk a little bit about how you got here. Let's talk about the process. I mean, why would you get on a plane and fly halfway around the world?
In 1999, a friend of mine was interested in doing this, going to Ukraine and going to Russia, and he eventually went with another company to St. Petersburg. But the whole process of him going through that opened my eyes to what was happening over there. And that's when I got a chance to talk to you by phone, and it was a long time ago. But I always had that in my pocket, because I was given, a divorce a couple of years ago. And I was always kind of had the idea of, like, if anything went south on that, I probably would go to Ukraine, because that was, I like the European culture. I like the femininity of the women, and, the dresses with the flowers and the long hair and all of that stuff. And I just thought, you know what, that probably would be a great little post-divorce gift to myself to go.
Post-divorce gift. I like that, guys. All you guys out there that are maybe going through that. I'll tell you, I've talked to a lot of our clients, and they tell me that's one of the best ways to get over a divorce is to go experience something like this. But because divorce is no fun. It's no fun at all.
No, it's not.
All right. So you were kind of thinking about this for quite some time. What made you choose the Kyiv-Kharkov tour?
Well, actually, against your advice of writing before I actually going on my first trip, I had communications with a lady that lived in Kyiv, and I wrote to her for a number of months, and I thought, you know what, I want to at least meet her. So I thought, okay, I'm going to go on the first group tour over, because John keeps on talking about how great the group tour is as opposed to the club tour, the individual tour. So I said, okay, I'm going to do the group tour. I'm going to go to the socials. There's two of them, one in Kyiv and one in Kharkov, and I'm going to just make the most of it. I only did those two cities, which was 10 days. So from Thursday to Saturday, total of 10 days. And it was just nonstop, every day, something going on. I had Helen, who is my wing woman in Kyiv, and she kept me busy. She made all the phone calls to all the ladies for me to date. She made all the arrangements with all the restaurants. She kept me on track. She's like, hey, you got to have a 3 o'clock, kind of wrap things up with your 12 o'clock, that kind of a thing. And the same thing happened when I made it over to Kharkov. I had Larissa. She was my co-pilot over there. And I probably dated about a dozen women while I was over there, outside of the two parties. And it's the same thing that you always say. We're meeting girls at a party, and it's the same thing. If I'm from Los Angeles, if I went to parties and I met girls here in Los Angeles, it's no different for me to meet somebody in Ukraine at a party. I'm using my own attraction. They come into me, and it was very good. Yeah, it was very good. And the women that were coming to me were attracted to me, obviously, because they're coming to me. I got phone numbers, and I gave them to Larissa. I gave them to Helen, and let them run with it. What I did was just enjoy my experience in itself. And I enjoyed it, just like, you just had a fundraiser for Dave. And I know the whole story behind Dave. And unfortunately, he passed away, and all the best to the family. And I also donated to that fundraiser. But he had said in the videos, hey, listen, at least I can do is have a really good time while I'm, enjoying the tour. Meeting women is kind of secondary. So I kind of went with that process. And then with a kidney, and oh, my cousin goes and says, I'm going to have to sign off for your coffin, and I was like, you know what, do not listen to what people are saying here, because they're going to find every reason to make it a negative thing, just because we just don't know what's going on in Ukraine, because it's still, kind of that scary country. And it's not really a scary country. You just got to open your eyes and learn what the world has to offer to you. I happen to start in Ukraine. Now, this company goes to all over. It goes to Thailand. It goes to Costa Rica. It goes to Shenzhen, China. You guys not only just kind of do one country like all your competitors do, you guys do several countries. You guys got, operations all over the world. And it's like, I was just telling my friend today, I said, listen, if I want to go to another country, I don't need to, make arrangements. I just call the AFA and go, hey, what kind of tours that you have in those countries, and go. You pretty much made a really convinced customer out of me to actually keep on going. And it's, the money is kind of something you want to think about. If you want to do on a group tour, it's a little bit more. Individual tour, it's kind of the same thing, except for all the guys coming along.
Fantastic. Now I want to ask you some more directed questions here, because a lot of guys watching this video, unfortunately, will never go over, and that's really sad.
Yeah.
So what I want to do is try to make them feel as comfortable as possible, because it really helps when they can listen to someone like yourself who, has gone over, and this is totally organic, right? We didn't set this up other than, hey,
No.
You went back, we talked, and I said, wouldn't mind sharing some of this to some other guys. And I think some guys don't realize that sometimes, but and what's funny is when I do seminars around the country, I have guys that come because they want to share their experiences. They've been before, but it's kind of this community, and they want to be around other guys that have done this or thinking of doing it, so they can talk to them about it, because they're excited about it. They're passionate. Mm-hmm. It's kind of a community that we build and have been building for 26 years. Right. So let me ask you a few questions so these guys understand the process, because they're like, oh my God, well, how's this guy in this black hat? How did he go over and do all that? But did you get support before you went? Did you feel well prepared before you got on the plane, I guess is what I'm asking.
Well, I was watching video after video after video of what you guys do, your webcast videos, and I just went back and just did my homework. This was the very first group tour after the pandemic. And so I wanted to be a part of that. I wanted to experience the women who really eagerly want to kind of meet you that. So I joined up on the first the first time. It's when I first met Anna for the first time. She's the host of the webcast most of the time. She's the better looking of between you and her.
Way better looking.
Her and Dina, yeah. I told Anna, I said, hey, listen, in preparation for this tour, I had my iPad with me, and I was on my couch, and I would regularly fall asleep to your voice. And I just wanted to let you know that it's comforting to know. Your voice is very comforting. So I was like, yeah. So, hey, I just did my homework. And that's what I recommend that anybody does. I also saw your videos on when you had one of your professionals on that talked about, make sure your nails are cut, make sure your hair is trimmed, make sure, and I got so many compliments on my cologne that I was wearing when I was over there. This guy smells good. He looks good. He dresses well. And you create that mystique. You need that mystique to be able to go, yeah, this guy is, kind of not like the frumpy guys that sometimes will come through. You gotta look good. You got to have a little bit of attitude. You got to kind of go in there kind of owning the room. So when I went to my first social in Kyiv, and I said, hey, and I got her by the arm. I said, hey, you ready to go and kill this room? And I said, hey, we're going to spend about 10 minutes, 15 minutes at each table. Let's go ahead and get some numbers. So then, because I need some numbers to be able to give to Helen so she can do her job. Now, as I told you in the webcast, I said I spent a little bit too much time on my last girl, and I ended up leaving the party, unfortunately. That's why you're not seeing me too much in all of the videos. I'm kind of giving my one-on-one attention to some of the ladies. So I'm kind of like in the background, and a lot of the video footage that was taken for the Kyiv Kharkov tour for July.
Okay.
So I was there. There's one shot of me, having a little selfie with one of the girls. So
Okay.
you did catch
Let me ask you, when you flew into Kyiv and you got off that plane, you got out of the airport, I imagine we picked you up, right? We would take you to the hotel.
Yeah.
What were you thinking? What was going through your mind?
God.
What were your impressions of all that?
Yeah, it was crazy. Going by myself, flying there, everybody here at home are telling me, you're nuts, you're crazy, and all this stuff. I did get support from my brothers, and they're going, yeah, you know what? I got a buddy who's got a Russian. He's so happy. You know what? Go for it. So I did. Half of my family was like, go for it, Dave, go for it. And so I'm kind of going into Borispol Airport. And I'm seeing all kinds of, weird letters that are backwards. So when I got off the plane, it was kind of a shock. It was like, wow, I really am in a different country. And then when
different culture,
my driver showed up, my AFA driver, he was really cool. And so I'm like, hey, yeah, I'm Dave. And he goes, yeah, I'm Sergey. Let's go ahead. And we get into the car. And he doesn't really know too much English. He just knows enough just to be pleasant and to get you from the airport over to the hotel, the AFA designated hotel. So we're just driving on the way there, and I'm looking at the buildings, and they build their buildings differently, and the roads are different, and the signs are different. It's like everything about over there is different. And it was just really, I'm a first timer. I'm a first time going over there, first time AFA client. And it was a really super, super experience.
Yeah. We talk about, the women. You've talked about the socials already and how you went from table to table. You had the staff, the matchmaker at your side, and she was helping you. Did you find that helpful? Was it nice to have that?
Are you asking me that just to kind of, it was part of the whole trip. It was, I had Helen, and Helen and I are like best friends now. We just hit it off, and it's not like other than just somebody who's getting to know you and getting to know your personality. And I really wanted to kind of spend some time with her, so she kind of knows my personality and what kind of ladies that I'd be interested in. And we developed a really good friendship. And I love her to death, as well as I love Anna and Larissa, and those are some of the contacts that will stay with you forever. All of those women on your staff was just top notch.
Yeah, it's funny because guys will say, "Oh, John, that tour was great. Thanks so much." I'm like, "Hey, I didn't do anything. It's the staff over there that works so hard all the time. And you see what they have to go through with all the different guys and all the different things that can come up, and they deal with it really well.
Yeah, they do.
We talk a lot about how not, politically correct people would have us believe that everybody's the same, but everybody's not the same. There are differences in cultures, right? And there's wonderful women in the United States, and there's wonderful women overseas. Yeah. But in general, when you went over, what was your overall impression of the Ukrainian woman? I mean, was there a difference? Did you see a difference?
That's the whole reason why I went. I wasn't interested in, kind of somebody who wants to be the boss. I'm interested in somebody who understands the cultures. And the Ukrainian lady culture is this. It is feminine. It is where they support their men, where they understand that they take a secondary role in the whole relationship, but they do it in such grace and their femininity just kind of makes you feel like you want to be their hero. And that's really what in today's dating world, guys are looking for that. We're looking for femininity and long hair and ladies who put on red lipstick and evening dresses and high heels. I mean, you're not going to get that level of lady here in the United States. So that's kind of partially the reason why I went over there, is because of the culture differences, how they see men, and they really like men. I mean, not like here. It's like some ladies don't like men. And so you want to go over where you're wanted, don't you? You are definitely wanted over there. If any guy is thinking about going, they need to go and just experience it yourself. Just do the acid test, put down the money on a plane, get over there, and let AFA take care of the rest, and let you just enjoy your time over there. And that's really the best thing.
Perfect. And Dave, if you had to decide if you would rather write letters to the women or go over on this tour, right? And
yeah, no letters.
No
Do
letters.
not do any letters.
Go over and just meet, right? Meet.
Well,
because now you're writing to some of these women, but you've met them and you've established a chemistry already, correct?
Yeah, that did pose a problem, and it's not because of anybody's fault. It's just because that it's just a chemistry thing. I was writing to this girl for several months. When we got into a Skype, the chemistry just died. But it was not something that would eventually lead to anywhere. So that was my experience, and I just said, so I did when I was in Kyiv, I did take her out. I did promise her some candy, and I bought her some roses. And I just told her like a man in person. I said, listen, there was just nothing here. And I just wanted to let you know that there's just no hard feelings. I believe that the date ended on a good note. I have a photograph with her and she was smiling. I didn't really ask for her phone number because I just didn't think it was kind of going to go anywhere. And so she was a little offended that I didn't ask for her phone number, but I didn't feel it.
Time and time again, it can happen.
You can have a really beautiful woman and you can think that you're going to have chemistry with her, but you don't know. And just by looking at the photographs and then falling in love on your photographs, that's not the same as meeting somebody in person.
Yeah, totally agree. So we want to know, Dave, did you meet anyone there that you feel there could be a future with?
Taking it one day at a time. Okay. Taking it one day at a time.
But you're in direct contact with let's say, yeah. So that's fantastic. Well, that's good. Yeah. And that's the idea. That's what we want. Is some guys go like, well, if I go over, can I exchange contact information? And you know that if there's a chemistry, they're willing, they want to give you their phone number or their contact, right?
That's right.
We satisfy IMBRA with everybody that's on the tour, so there's no problem in that. And
that's the reason. That's the reason at the socials you want the ladies to come to you. And I told Tanya my very first ever in my life social, and I said to her, I want to marry them all. And it's like, well, you can't marry them all, but yeah, you want to take them all home, and you just want to just cuddle with them all night long, but you can't. And you have to you have to use your head, and you have to pick and choose. You have to decide, which one kind of suits you the best. The ball is in your court when you go over there. Group tour, individual tour, club tour, it doesn't matter. Just get over there. It doesn't matter.
I often describe these tours as an onion, and you keep peeling it back and you get more and more layers, because it's not just, like you said earlier, about meeting the women. There's so many other social aspects to it, and cultural aspects to it, and travel aspects to it. So it's this kind of gestalt where you put all these things together, which makes the tour. And if you take away a component, it really does take away from it, because you have all these different components that make it larger. And would you agree to that? I mean, because did you experience that, all these different aspects of it, not just the women?
Actually, when I got there, I got to Ukraine on a Sunday. The tour didn't start until a Thursday. The very next day, I hired an independent tour guide, and we spent a whole day going to points of interest in Kyiv. As the tour kept on going, it was like a snowball of fun. As the trip started to roll, it was getting better and better and better. And when I got to Kharkov, I'm like, we're rocking and rolling here. And I've already gone through one social. I know how it's like. Let's go ahead and do the second social. And those women in Kharkov is what I connected up with the most, rather than the girls in Kyiv. And I don't know whether or not it was the girls that just came to me, but they're the ones who chose me. And I gave them time, and I took them all out on dates, and pretty soon everything was over. and I had to go home. And I'm like, man, what just happened? I just said, this was super, super fun. And at least you can go and have a great time. If it doesn't happen on this trip, go again, and if it doesn't happen on your next trip, then try a different country, because AFA goes to many countries. So stick with AFA. Their staff is on the ball, know what's going on, and they've been doing it for 26 years. Or is it your marriage that's been 26 years?
No.
I
Yeah,
don't
it's been
know.
22. We've been
What's
doing
that?
26. So yeah,
Yeah.
you got it. But yeah.
Yeah.
Dave, I've seen guys coming back when we used to include the airfare. We'd come back together to get into JFK, and there were guys with like tears in their eyes. They're looking at JFK and like, what happened? What happened to all that I just left? Now I'm back here. Reality slaps them in the face, right?
Well, okay, fine. I'm not a tearful kind of a guy, but it's comforting to know that AFA is not going to go anywhere, that you're going to be around, and you've been around, and you've gone through the pandemic, and where everybody else is going out of business, you guys nailed it on the very first group tour post-pandemic. Nobody else would be able to do this. You know why? Because you've been doing it for such a long time, and you guys got a well-oiled machine that's going on over there. The staff knows what's going on. The people in the restaurants, they go, oh yeah, okay, AFA, and so they know who you are, and everything. Everybody is just running like, and here's John in his office, and he's just sipping coffee, and he's got the whole engine run. He's got the whole machine just doing its thing. And so it just goes to show you that, when you've been at it for such a long time, is what you've been doing. It shows, and it's not boring. It's, I understand that you have tours and it's the cookie cutter. Every 3 months it's the same thing, and then you have a few other tours that are out there for once a year kind of a thing. Okay, so it's great to know that you have options, and that's something you talk about all the time, is having options. So
absolutely. Well, Dave, it's been amazing, and I'm sure that what you said here is going to inspire someone, but we're at the end here.
Yeah.
So are there any last words you'd like to say to that keyboard Romeo or that guy on the couch that just is going to be, afraid to go over because he really does think he might lose a kidney or something? I mean, you were there. You just got back.
Yeah. Well, I tell you, you owe it to yourself to go. Once you get over there, then you're having a good time. And I think everybody owes it to themselves to just try it at least once in your lifetime, at least once. And we as Americans, we do not spend that much time rewarding ourselves with vacations and stuff. You're going to find that Americans work more than anybody else in the world. We should spend some on yourself because you deserve it.
Fantastic. That is great advice, Dave. I want to thank you again. I really appreciate you spending the time doing this, Dave.
Yeah. I feel as though the AFA staff is like AFA family, and they've been doing it for a long time. There have been staff with you for 15 years? I mean, what kind of
over 20 years
employees come and go? So it's got to say something about management and how they treat their people, and how if anybody was not treated right, they would be leaving. Okay, you guys are, caring individuals who not only care about your customers, but you also care about your employees, and how, and that's kind of also knowing the right thing to do. And when problems arise, you guys take care of it, and it's done in a professional way. Nobody, there are companies out there that just botch things up, but you guys work through it and you get things done. And ultimately you get a happy customer like myself to come back to the United States with great memories and wanting to go back again. Well, the guys at work call me Ukraine Dave now because I keep on talking about it. And me talking about it opened up their eyes. They had no idea. And I showed them like all these nice restaurants and stuff, and they're going, wow, get off your couch, get over there, get your flight, experience something totally different.
I love your insight. All right.
Well, you give me a call anytime, John, and I'll tell you more stories. And if I go again, I'll have more stories to share with you. But for now, you've made a happy customer here in Los Angeles. So thank you again. Thank you, AFA staff, and we'll see you next time. We'll see you over there in Ukraine for sure.
All right, Dave. Thank you so much.
Bye.